Okay, happy Thursday, which means we're almost to Friday. Woohoo! So this is our next day, our fourth day of digital learning. So today we are working on the standard identify and describe parts of an expression. Some of this is review and some of it is partially building on what we've done in warm-ups. So hopefully by the end of this, all of it will be pretty simple for you. So the title of this worksheet is Identify Parts of Expressions. So it says each part of an expression between the operation signs plus or minus is a term. So that means each part that is not the operation is a term. We've gone over that, so hopefully we'll do amazing with that part. A coefficient is a number multiplied by a variable or letter. So when we see a number next to a variable, which is a letter, that is the coefficient. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the example they have for us. Describe the parts of the expression 6b minus 7. Then write a word expression. Step 1, identify the terms. So there are two terms, 6b and 7. Step 2, describe the terms. So the first term shows multiplication, which is 6b, which means 6 times b. 6b is the product of 6, the coefficient, and b, the variable. Step 3, identify the operation separating the terms. Subtraction gives the difference of the two terms in the expression. And step 4, write a word expression. So for step 4, I just want to give you a heads up. When we go over the answers at the very end, if your expression, your word expression for step 4 is different but means the same thing as mine, it's probably right. There will be many different ways to write the word expression. So I just want to give you a heads up on that. Okay, so they actually gave us two different examples here. So like I said earlier, there's always different ways to write the word expression. So one way to write this in words is the difference of 6 times b and 7. Or you can say 7 less than the product of 6 and b. So let's go ahead and try one out together. So reading our directions, identify the parts of the expression, then write a word expression for the numerical or algebraic expression. So as you may notice, they wrote down the different steps next to the lines. I went ahead and did that at the bottom for myself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 steps. I rewrote each step and then I just put 1 through 4 on the lines at the bottom. So you may want to do that just so you have each step separate and you make sure you don't forget a step. Okay, so let's go ahead and do one together. So 5 times m minus 2. So first we need to identify the parts. So we are identifying the terms. So we have 3 terms. So let's write that. 3 terms. So 3 terms. So we have 5. We have m. And we have 2. Okay. Now describe the parts. So when we're describing the parts, we have 5 is a number. M is a variable. And 2 is another number. Okay. And identify the operations. So we have 2 types of operations coming in this expression. So we have multiplication and subtraction. So multiplication and subtraction. And I'm sorry, when I'm writing, you cannot see what I'm writing. So I try to make sure to show it right when I'm done, which remember I'm left-handed, so I usually write on top of the page. But anyways, you guys are kind of used to that by now. Okay, and now let's write a word expression. So there's different ways to write this, but the main thing we're noticing here is there's parentheses between m minus 2. So we need to make sure we're keeping that together. So I would say 5 times the difference of m and 2. The difference of, so 5 times the difference of m and 2. So 5 times the difference of m and 2. And I forgot, you don't have to, but usually it also is better to write out the word instead of just the number. But that's okay. I'll just put it here. So either would work. So that was our example. This one has a lot of steps, but notice there's a little less questions. So go ahead and pause the video, try number 2 and 3, and come back and check what I had for my answers. Okay, let's go ahead and check our answers for number 2 and 3. So for number 2, the first part for identifying the parts, so there are 3 terms, 12, 7, and 2. All terms are numbers. The operations in this expression is division and addition. And lastly, remember, this can be done in many different ways, but this is just an example of what I did. If yours means the same thing, but it's written differently, it is probably correct. So I went ahead and wrote this out, 12 divided by 2 plus 7. Okay, let's go over to number 3. So here we also have 3 terms. We have 8y, 2, and 11. To go ahead and identify the different parts. So this took up a little bit more space. We have a little bit more going on here. So 8y is the product, 8 is the coefficient, y is the variable, and then 2 and 11 are numbers. For the third part, we are identifying the operations. So we have multiplication and addition in this expression. And there's multiplication happening here, and then addition between the two. And then lastly, let's go ahead and write this out in words, which remember, you could write this in many different ways. So we have the product of 8 and y added to the product of 2 and 11. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the back of this page, try one out together, and then you'll try the rest on your own. Okay, let's go ahead and do the back together. This has a lot of reading, but it should be pretty simple. So let's go ahead and read this. The baker at Sweetie Pie Cafe baked 7 cherry pies and 8 apple pies yesterday. She cut each cherry pie into 6 slices and each apple pie into 8 slices. At the end of the day, there were 5 slices of pie left unsold. The expression 7 times 6 plus 8 times 8 minus 5 gives the number of slices that were sold, which describes a part in this expression. So we need to see which one of these would be here in that expression. So the sum of 6 and 8. So we have 6, we have 8, but they are separate by parentheses, so we could not say we're adding those two first. The difference of 8 and 5. So we do have 8 minus 5, but notice parentheses stops that from being something we would first do together, so we wouldn't say that. The sum of 7 and 6. So we have 7 and 6, but it's actually being multiplied, so that wouldn't work. The product of 8 and 8. So we have 8 times 8. That's the product. Perfect. So D would be the correct answer. So go ahead and pause. Try the rest of this page, and we'll go over the answers. Okay, let's check our answers. So again, we did number 1 together. That was D. Number 2 is asking what parts are the coefficients. That's just the number in front of the variable. So 9 and 5 are the coefficients, which is A. For 3, it said what are the terms. The terms are anything that are part of the expression, excluding the operation. So we have 6p and 8q, which is C. And then number 4, it said which part describes this expression. So we were just reading each one and see which one links up to that expression. So the only one that actually works is the product of 5 and 8, which is 5 times 8 right there. And that was A. Then for number 5, they gave us expression. They just wanted us to verify what are the terms of the expression. So 6p and 5n are the terms. And then for number 6, they went ahead and gave us an expression, and we had to write it out in words. So this could be done in different ways, but this is what I came up with. So 4 times the sum of 15 and 20. So if you did this a different way, that's fine, as long as you always remember 15 and 20 need to stay together. So if you just said 4 times 15 plus 20, that would not work, because if we wrote that out as an expression, we would not have our parentheses, which means if there are not parentheses there, then we would be multiplying before adding. But here it shows that we need to add, then multiply. Okay, so hope you understood that page today. Let me know if you have any questions. You can email me or leave me a message on the video. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye. Have a great rest of your day.